Hi there. I'm just doing another video, and I think this will be one of those videos where I just flow, unless it's a subject. I think one thing I might dive into is the education system. Now, obviously, the education system, its control over people isn't that big now, and that's because they have artificial intelligence. In China, they have these headsets on children, and they use what these headsets do is they monitor which kids are paying attention, which kids aren't. And what's education? Well, everything is created by somebody. Like Steve Jobs once said that everything is made up by people who are no more smarter than you. And that's true. And this is basically what the education system has always been. It's everything is like that. Society is molded that way. You come into the world, you're born, and you're immediately copying your surroundings. It's a natural thing. But this has been used against us, you see. I've spoke about this in my talks about counterintelligence. I haven't done a talk about counterintelligence for a while, but this is something I got into a couple of years ago, and I found it very interesting. And counterintelligence is basically, simplify, is creating a perceptual state of awareness in the masses, and so they then will create the future that you've designed, and that will be your future history. And it's a way, it's a thing that exists, and counterintelligence, and the education system plays a big part in that. And well, it has done, but now they're wanting to take the education system further. They're wanting to abuse children now. Not allowing them to play with their children. At least they had other children to play with, but the system isn't even allowing them that, because the system's goal now is to get to their end goal, which is humans connected to AI. By 2030, they want this because humanity is waking up, you see. This is why the education system exists. It is true, and it's been spoken about. It's even in a Bob Dylan song, that very uneducated people are very gifted psychically and can read your palm or read your mind, it's because they're tapping into a higher vibration, you see. This is the thing, the people that you see with the biggest educations are the biggest idiots going. They are. I've had jobs where I've worked with people like this, and they're idiots. They hold on to their degree, but the kind of perception that they get is they think that a degree is the only way in life and there's no other possibilities. And these kind of people, they don't see how limited they've become in their perceptions. And I think the reason, a lot of these people as well, they don't get a spiritual awakening. They don't get that big awakening. And why is that? Well, because the education system, when people repeat all the time, it gets into their psyche, and they become a perceptual state of awareness that has been orchestrated by the education system. There was a Rockefeller guy that said in the 60s, I don't want a nation of thinkers, I want a nation of workers. And that's basically it, This is why the people that are more simple-minded, you would imagine, are the ones that wake up spiritually. Right? And that's why they want to complicate your mind with numbers and forms and all this stuff. Because it's all illusory nonsense, because everything else has come from nothing. Common sense tells you that. And that's why religious people will argue with you that nothing, that there can't be a nothing, which is common sense tells you there is. Everything has to start from nothing. Because they're so crazy and brainwashed, they will argue that. Because they can't see the common sense logic that everything has to come from nothing. Therefore, everything's created by someone else. If you look around you right now, whether it's a room or whether you're outside, in a park, even the grass on the ground, someone had to plant it, right? And everything is created by somebody. Right? Everything. That's it. As soon as you have a something from nothing life, everyone is that's on that life, that has that life, is creating everything else. It's like spelling. Why do they say spell words? Because words are energies. When you say a word, that's an energy. You're saying, when you speak, that's why they say speak your reality into existence. And that's what we're always doing. When you speak any word, that's a frequency. Right? And that's why they say spell, because when you say words, you're casting spells. So when you get stupid people, I remember when I was in school, stupid people that would be the teacher's pet, and they're the kind of people that will end up getting lots of degrees, and then what happens is they wake up when they're 30 years old or 40 years old and think, oh, what have I done? Am I actually happy? I've seen people like this, educated people, and then later on in life they think, oh, I'm not actually happy. My health isn't that great. Because they're stupid. They've been dumbed down by the education system. That's the point of it. You see, but like I say, now they're not worried about that now. That's why they closed the schools, and not worried because they've got this AI. And that's the point of the COVID-19 lockdown, is to kill off businesses, kill people with cancer because they can't get treatment and other illnesses, and connect everyone with artificial intelligence. And this is actually called Agenda 2030. It's not made up. I'm not making it up. It's called Agenda 2030. And that's why they're trying to destroy history. Because history is made up as well. So it means nothing to the system. Believe it, if the system didn't want people to trash historic, figures, then it wouldn't happen. Everything comes from the top. But the problem is we're going through a global spiritual awakening, and that means that the bottom is rising up now. And everything's returning to divinity, oneness. And when you wake up spiritually, like when I was growing up, a teenager, all my life till probably the awakening, 24, I thought I was stupid because I didn't do very well in school, because I knew what it was. Whenever it was a lesson, I would get really drained and tired, and I wouldn't comply with it. I wouldn't do it. And look, I had this amazing awakening, and that's because I am more intelligent than someone who's stupid enough to be brainwashed. I could see as a kid that it was a waste of time. All you're doing in school is repeating someone else's version of life. That's it. And who's to say that they're right and wrong within nearly 8 billion people? Right? Right, and that's it. And I saw this when I was about 10. But most people are brainwashed by that time, you see. But the fact is, the only important thing in your life is, are you happy? How do you feel in this moment? Because you could die in the next moment. So how happy are you? And that, that could be your job that you're in, your life, your relationship, your friendships. Are you happy with your life at this moment? And that's the only thing that matters. Like John Lennon's mother told him that the only thing in life was to be happy. That's the most important thing. That's the key to life. And that is the key, is to be happy. But to be truly happy, you've got to not look at the education system and not look outward, which is just the matrix. You've got to look within yourself. Because that's the point when you spiritually awaken. And then once you look within yourself, you're healing now. But it only happens to people that are ready to take that, to do that. And then what happened to me is I started going through this awakening, and you become more conscious and more aware. And as you're healing these deeper parts, you're rising to and aligning with your divinity. Like I always say, there's like a heaven self and a human self, a life self. And in spiritual awakening, you're aligning with that power. But it is true that the most people that have these awakenings have not been programmed or aren't, an intellectual when it comes to education. But they're a spiritual intellectual, you could say, which is a higher level of intelligence. Like people like Einstein said that, it's intuition that's the power. And the education system has always learned us to be very simple and not be intuitive. Not be meditative. That's what it's all about. It's because reality is about perceptual mind control. And this is the war that's going on just now. That's why the system is trying to control what people see on the internet. Because they know that if they see the stuff that can wake them up spiritually, then they won't control society anymore. That's the thing. If you want to control society, you've got to control perceptions. Because from perceptions comes experience. Comes your experiences. Your whole reality is just a perceptual state of awareness. It's even scientific now. I saw the other day that our genes or genetics, it's awareness. Everything's awareness. Awareness with no form. Even science can prove that everything's energy and there's no physicality. And I just, obviously I wanted to talk about the education system, but I've spoke about a few different things that interlink with what I originally spoke about. But yes, when someone thinks they're good at spelling, for example, it's, what spell? It's you're casting a spell, like I said earlier. It's, that's it. But these people, some people don't have their head isn't in the right place. You're here to ascend at the highest possible level. That's what you're here for. And so that's the only important thing to focus on. Don't focus on things that's created by some idiot. But yeah, when words are spells, like I say, that's why they say speak your reality into existence. Words are spells, that's why they say spell. And everything's made up by somebody. And I'm just going to leave it there. For latest updates, please do visit my website, which is www.lovelightfamily.com. Thank you for watching. Thank you.